Welcome back, everybody, to another deep dive with us here at Snarful Solutions. You know we love to connect the dots on the latest tech news for you, especially how it all might impact your lives.
That's right.
And today we are going to be looking at insights from the very own Staying Current journal from Snarful Solutions Group.
Lots to cover.
Lots to cover in there.
Yeah.
Some really fascinating trends that we're seeing. We're going to unpack a multi-billion-dollar AI acquisition.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to explore if all the AI hype is actually delivering.
Good question.
And we're going to be looking at how one music platform is winning by thinking differently. Plus, we've got a question from a listener named Lauren in Fair Oaks about one of the stories.
Looking forward to that. So, yeah, it certainly seems like AI is grabbing all the headlines these days.
It really is.
Yeah, it really is.
And leading the charge is this huge acquisition, ServiceNow. Now they're a workflow automation company.
Right?
And they are shelling out almost $3 billion to buy Moveworks. They specialize in AI assistance for businesses.
Wow.
Pretty bold move.
Yeah.
I'm curious to know what you make of it.
Well, I think it definitely signals a major push towards workplace automation. ServiceNow is known for streamlining business processes. So it makes sense that they're betting big on AI to make workplaces even more efficient. But the real question is, what does this mean for the everyday worker?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like, is this going to lead to more streamlined processes?
Yeah.
Or are we looking at a scenario where robots start replacing human jobs?
Yeah, it's probably a bit of both, to be honest.
Okay.
On the one hand, AI assistants can handle those repetitive tasks, freeing up humans to focus on more creative and strategic work.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, there's no denying that increased automation could lead to job displacement in certain sectors.
So adaptation is key.
Absolutely.
Workers will need to acquire new skills to stay relevant in this evolving landscape.
Absolutely. And this acquisition is just the tip of the iceberg. There's a much bigger trend at play here. This quarter alone has seen a massive influx of investment into AI startups. Over $30 billion, according to PitchBook data.
Wow.
And they track venture capital investments, and there's another $50 billion waiting in the wings.
That's a staggering amount of money.
Huh.
It seems like everyone's suddenly obsessed with AI.
I know, right?
But is this purely hype? Or is there genuine potential for AI to revolutionize industries?
It's definitely not all hype. AI is already delivering tangible results in fields like healthcare, finance, and research.
Okay.
But there's also a lot of inflated expectations. We need to separate the wheat from the chaff, so to speak.
So how do we do that? How do we discern the real advancements from the overblown promises?
One way is to look at the specific areas where AI is struggling to live up to the hype.
Okay.
Take agentic AI, for example.
All right.
It's been generating a lot of buzz lately, but the reality is it's still in its infancy.
Agentic AI. That sounds like something straight out of a science fiction movie. What exactly does it mean?
In simple terms, it refers to AI systems that can act independently to achieve specific goals. Think of it as AI with more autonomy and decision-making power.
So it's not just about AI performing tasks, it's about AI making decisions.
Right.
That does sound a bit unsettling.
There are definitely ethical and practical concerns that need to be addressed, and the technology itself isn't quite there yet. Kyle Wiggers from TechCrunch reported that early users of a platform called Manus, which claims to offer agentic AI, are experiencing a lot of issues.
Like what kind of issues?
Things like long wait times, errors, unsatisfactory answers from the AI, and even those dreaded endless loops that make you want to tear your hair out.
Oh, I've been there.
We've all been there.
So is agentic AI all smoke and mirrors? Or are these just growing pains for a technology with massive potential?
It's difficult to say for sure. It's important to remember that agentic AI is still in its very early stages of development. There's a lot of work to be done before it can truly live up to its promises.
Which brings us to a question from one of our listeners, Lauren, in Fair Oaks. She's wondering if the way we're currently developing AI can even lead to those big scientific breakthroughs everyone keeps talking about.
That's a great question. And it's something that researchers are actively grappling with. Thomas Wolfe, the co-founder of Hugging Face, that's a platform for sharing AI models and data sets, actually voiced a similar concern in that same TechCrunch article. He believes that our current methods might not be conducive to the kind of outside-the-box thinking needed for true scientific discovery.
So what would it take to unlock AI's full potential for scientific discovery? Do we need a completely different approach?
That's a complex question. Some experts believe we need to move beyond our current focus on deep learning and neural networks, exploring new architectures and algorithms, maybe even entirely new ways of thinking about intelligence itself.
That's a fascinating thought. Needing AI to help us understand intelligence. But what does that look like in practice?
It's a bit of a paradox, isn't it? We still don't fully understand how our own brains work, let alone how to create artificial systems that can truly replicate or even surpass human intelligence. However, some researchers are exploring the potential of hybrid approaches combining the strengths of deep learning with other techniques like symbolic reasoning or evolutionary algorithms.
So there's a lot of experimentation happening in the field, and it's hard to predict what the future holds. But it's clear that we need to be cautious about overhyping AI's capabilities, especially when it comes to scientific discovery.
Absolutely. And it's important to remember that technology is a tool. And like any tool, it can be used for good or for ill. We need to be mindful of the ethical implications of AI and ensure that it's developed and deployed responsibly.
Yeah.
It's a bit like giving a toddler a chainsaw.
Okay.
You're not really sure what's going to happen, but it's probably not going to end well.
That's a vivid analogy. And speaking of looking at things differently, that reminds me of another story from the journal Audiomack, the music streaming platform. They're doing something really interesting.
Ah, yes. Audiomack is a great example of how focusing on a specific niche can lead to success, even in a crowded market dominated by global giants.
Right?
While Spotify and Apple Music are battling it out for global dominance, Audiomack has quietly carved out a significant presence in West Africa, where 50% of its 40 million monthly listeners reside.
It seems counterintuitive. Wouldn't a broader approach make more sense, especially for a music platform?
You'd think so, but Audiomack's strategy has been incredibly effective. They understood that the West African market had specific needs and preferences that weren't being met by the bigger players. They tailored their platform to those needs, focusing on local artists and genres, and building strong relationships with the community.
So instead of trying to be everything to everyone, they became the go-to platform for a specific audience. That's a powerful lesson in understanding your target market.
Exactly, and it speaks to a broader point about innovation in the tech world. Sometimes the most innovative solutions aren't about creating something entirely new, but about taking something that already exists and adapting it to a new context or a new set of challenges.
That's a really interesting point. It's like how the wheel was revolutionary, not because it was a completely new concept,
Right.
but because it was applied in a way that transformed transportation.
Precisely. And in the case of Audiomack, their understanding of the West African market allowed them to apply the music streaming model in a way that resonated with a specific audience and filled a gap that the bigger players had overlooked.
It makes you wonder if some of the hype surrounding AI could benefit from a similar approach. Instead of trying to create a one-size-fits-all solution for every problem under the sun, maybe focusing on specific applications or industries would yield better results.
I think there's definitely something to be said for that. We've seen that AI can be incredibly effective when applied to narrow tasks, like playing chess or generating realistic images. But when it comes to broader challenges like scientific discovery or creating truly intelligent machines, maybe we need to be more targeted in our approach.
It goes back to what we were discussing earlier about the limitations of current AI development paradigms. Maybe we need to rethink our assumptions about what AI is and what it can do.
Exactly. We need to be careful not to get caught up in the hype and remember that AI is a tool. And like any tool, it has its strengths and limitations.
And as with any powerful tool, we need to use it responsibly and ethically. We don't want to create something that ends up doing more harm than good.
That's a crucial point. The potential benefits of AI are immense, but so are the potential risks. We need to proceed thoughtfully and ensure that AI is developed and deployed in a way that benefits humanity as a whole.
Well said. And that brings us back to Lauren's question about AI's potential for scientific breakthroughs. Do you think focusing on specific scientific challenges, rather than trying to create a general-purpose AI for scientific discovery, might be a more promising approach?
I think it's worth exploring. Instead of trying to build an AI that can solve any scientific problem, maybe we should focus on developing AI systems that are tailored to specific domains like drug discovery or material science. This would allow us to leverage the power of AI while also addressing the unique challenges of each field.
That makes a lot of sense. Instead of trying to create a single AI to rule them all, we could have a whole ecosystem of specialized AIs, each contributing to scientific progress in its own way.
Exactly. And by focusing on specific applications, we can also address the ethical considerations more effectively. For instance, if we're developing an AI for medical diagnosis, we can build in safeguards to ensure that it's used fairly and responsibly.
That's a great point. It's about finding that balance between innovation and responsibility, between pushing the boundaries of what's possible while also ensuring that we're using technology for good.
Precisely. And that requires ongoing dialogue, collaboration, and a willingness to adapt as the technology evolves. We need to stay informed, engage in thoughtful discussions, and make sure we're shaping these advancements in ways that benefit society as a whole.
So what are some concrete steps that our listeners can take to stay informed and engage in these important conversations about the future of AI?
Well, there are a number of great resources available online and in libraries. Publications like TechCrunch, Wired, and MIT Technology Review provide excellent coverage of the latest developments in AI, as well as insightful analyses of the ethical and societal implications.
Those are great starting points. And I'd also encourage our listeners to seek out diverse perspectives. Don't just rely on a single source or a single point of view. Read articles and books by experts from different disciplines, attend lectures and conferences, and engage in discussions with people who have different backgrounds and opinions.
That's excellent advice. The more perspectives we expose ourselves to, the better equipped we'll be to understand the complex issues surrounding AI and to contribute to shaping its future in a positive way.
And it's not just about staying informed, it's also about taking action. We can support organizations that are working to develop and deploy AI responsibly, advocate for policies that promote ethical AI development, and even consider careers in fields related to AI ethics and governance.
Yeah, it's not enough to just sit back and observe.
Yeah.
We need to be active participants in shaping the future of AI.
I completely agree. So to recap our deep dive today, we've seen some major moves in the AI landscape with ServiceNow's acquisition of Moveworks and a huge influx of investment into anything AI related. But we've also seen that AI isn't a magic bullet. It has limitations, and there's still a long way to go before it achieves its full potential, especially when it comes to scientific breakthroughs.
Yeah, and amidst all this, Audiomack's success story reminds us that sometimes the most innovative solutions come from thinking differently, finding niche markets, and delivering what people actually need.
It's a great reminder that innovation can come from unexpected places, and that understanding your target audience is key.
Absolutely. And as we've discussed, navigating the world of technology requires a critical eye. We need to be discerning consumers of information, separating the hype from the reality, and engaging in thoughtful discussions about the ethical implications of these advancements.
It's about being informed, engaged, and proactive in shaping the future of technology.
Exactly. And remember, we are here to help here at Snarful, so reach out on our website if you have any more questions.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive, everyone. We'll catch you next time.